Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. And inch by inch, row by row, someone blessed these seeds I sowed. Someone warmed them from below till the rains come tumbling down.
Good morning. Today's show we're going to show you about planting some garlic. Garlic is one of the easiest things you can put in your garden, and it's a lot of fun if you've got any young children. Have them help you. It's a foolproof thing. It's very, very simple. Well, first of all, let me show you how we do it. I've loosened up this soil to a depth of 6 or 8 inches. And right now, I'm going to do is put some compost on it, in it, like so, not a lot, like so. Now mix that compost in to about 3 inches or so, maybe 4, just to get a nice mix. That'll be the only fertilizer we'll give the garlic. We don't want it to grow too much at this point. We're planting this now. Well, actually, I'm planting this 6 weeks before it's due, but I wanted to have this done so that you would know how to do it. But when the time came, you'd be ready. So work your soil like so. Tamp it down just a bit. This is more so you can see actually what you're doing as you're doing it. And the next thing we want to do is make a spot to put our bulbs. I've made this out of an old broom handle, and I drill a hole in it every ½ inch, up to 3 inches. Garlic wants to go in 3 inches deep, so I put a large nail in here. Now when that nail reaches the ground like so, that's 3 inches. And I go 4 inches apart, making my holes. I'll move over about 6 inches and repeat that. So we plant double row. If you want to make your own bulb planter, you could use a longer handle. I think next year I'll have an older one, so I'll be older, so I'll make it a little longer. Now you take your bulb, you take your garlic bulb. Now, your garlic bulbs, buy them at a garden center, or go online and find a good, reliable seed company. Do not buy bulbs from the grocery store. They have been sprayed with a chemical to keep them from starting to grow in the bulb prematurely. They don't want them in a store with green shoots coming out of them, so they spray them to prevent them from germinating. So take your bulbs, and you want a nice good sized bulb. Just drop it in the hole, pointed side up, like so. You should get 6 or 7 bulbs closed per bulb. And double row like this. I got a row here, it's going to be 12 feet long. And going 4 inches, I'm going to get probably 76 plants in this row. So now what we do with that, we just want to cover this up now, like so. Very simple. Get your youngsters involved. There. Now we'll tamp that down again, like so. That's all there is to it. We'll give it a little drink. We want to give it a good drink now. Not going to drown it, but give it a good drink. Everything you plant has to be kept moist. So we'll do that. That is finished, but we're not finished now. We've got to do one more job. We're going to cover this with about 4 inches of straw. When this starts to grow, you don't want to go into that situation where you have a freezing day, freezing nights, then it's warm days, and the ground freezes and it thaws, and it freezes and it thaws. that will pop the bulbs up out of the ground, and you'll wind up with no crop at all. So this will keep it. Once it freezes, it'll stay frozen. If your plant starts to germinate and you start to see green shoots coming through this, put more straw on it, or whatever mulch you happen to be using, because you don't want it to grow now. In the spring, in April, come out and remove your straw. Be gentle, because you will have green shoots coming up. You don't want to go in there and break them. So be gentle taking the straw off in the spring. In the spring, fertilize it with some bone meal, fish meal, or whatever you choose as your favorite fertilizer. And that's about all. Just keep it damp. Don't drown it. You don't want to be it doesn't like to be overwatered. And that's all it is. And maybe in the middle of June, between the 1st of July, you're going to see these green things coming out. They're little round spikes, and they'll come up and they'll curl around and make a circle at the top and have a bulb on the end of it. That's escape. Pick them off. You can use them in your cooking. They will taste like garlic. You can use them in your cooking, but don't leave them on the plant. The plant will have a tendency to grow small bulbs while it's growing the scapes. So as soon as that scape makes its full circle, pick it. And then when the plant matures, it'll start turning brown from the bottom up. When it gets mostly brown, harvest your crop. Don't yank them out of the ground. Take a pitchfork or a shovel or something and loosen them up and take them out. Put them in a bunch, 5 or 6 together, tie them up with a string, a piece of twine, and hang them up in a cool area. In your garage, in the shed, in a shaded area. You keep it cool. Leave them there for 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, they're ready to, your harvest is done, you're ready to use. Just take and snip off the stem about 1 inch above the bulb. Leave a small piece on. Similar to this, just leave a small piece on. Take the roots at the bottom and cut them off like so. You can leave a little bit there, it doesn't do any harm at all. If you go to the store and you see that these garlic bulbs at the store have no roots on them, they're shaved real clean, that's because the federal agricultural people have regulations for importing garlic. Most of our garlic comes from China, and they make them shave that clean so that we know where it came from. It's the way of marking it. But anyway, you don't want that bulb from the store anyway. You want to get a good bulb. And after you harvest your crop and it's all dried, take your biggest bulbs and save them. Put them aside, use them for next year's crop. Every year, just put in your biggest bulbs for the crop. After a few years, you won't be getting any of these small bulbs. You'll be getting all big ones. Well, good luck. I hope this is helpful. Like I say, we're doing this 6 weeks before it's due. We should be doing this between the 15th of October and the 1st of November. So you have some time to go to the seed company or garden center and get your supplies that you need. That's pretty simple to do, and you really will enjoy it. I do. I had about 100 bulbs last year, and my friends and neighbors like them too. So that's that project. What we're looking at here now is San Marzano tomatoes that we planted on a previous show. These plants were tall, they were leggy. Most people would walk right past them in the garden center and say, oh, I don't want to buy those plants. I want those nice short, fat ones. And they walk right past these. So anyway, planted these as you saw, 12 to 15 inches deep. I made my hole. I put my fertilizers, my eggshells, my bone meal and so forth in the hole. And this is the results that you get with tall, leggy plants planted deep. And I say deep, I mean deep, 12 inches or more. But I've got a tremendous crop, as you can see. And I like these tall, leggy ones much better than the strong, short ones. These San Marzano tomatoes are grown in Italy mostly, and you can buy them in the grocery store, very expensive. They grow, as you can see, 2.5 to 4 inches in size. They're a sauce tomato. They're for canning. They're for pasta sauces or salsa. This is an Italian Roma tomato. Looks the same, except you can see by the size. This is the Roma, is much smaller. That also is a sauce tomato. This is a big boy tomato. It's we call a slicer. This is what you make your BLT sandwiches with. Or you can cut it up and use it any way you want. But I like them in a sandwich. Also, if you're looking at these plants now, you'll see that the leaves look terrible. The plant looks terrible. Well, they're pretty much done for the season. And the plant is neglecting the leaves now. It's putting all its energy into the fruit. So we're getting lots of tomatoes. We're ripening up the green ones. We got a few flowers coming, but they'll be too late in the year. So what I may do now is come out and cut the top off of these. You cut the top off of your plant, called deadheading. That will stop the growth of the plant. All the energy then goes to the fruit. You don't need these plants to get any bigger. We have all we need here. Where we are now, this is our cherry tomatoes. This is what we call a large cherry. And you can see by the size of the fruits, these grow, they'll be about this tall. This plant is going crazy. As you can see, it's up about 10 feet high and very productive. On my left here, this is called a Sweet Millions cherry tomato. And you can see the difference. It's a smaller tomato, different taste completely. And our third cherry tomato, we have three, is a yellow gooseberry. This is a good tomato for people that have stomach problems. It's less acid in this tomato. It's a good tasting tomato, but it's less acid and it's easy to digest versus the other tomatoes. These also were planted the same as the others, a foot deep. Good fertilizer, good sun, good air circulation. You can't go wrong. They take care of themselves. And that's that. Can I move up a little bit here? These are our bell peppers. We have 6 plants here of bell peppers. Those are good, as you know. Coming along this way, we've grown these peppers here are the Italian Cubanelle frying pepper. They're good for pepper and egg sandwiches. They're good for frying with peppers and onions. But I basically use them with my San Marzano tomatoes to make a garden sauce. I grow all my ingredients here, for most of the ingredients here. We have the tomatoes, the peppers, we have the parsley, the basil, oregano. We have everything here that we need to make a good sauce. What we have here is our yellow summer squash. And I'm going to take this branch here right off for a minute, just to show you. This is what we call powdery mildew. It's controllable. I haven't controlled this because it's the time of the year now. I'm not really worried about it. It's gone by. You'll get this on your squash, your cucumbers, that type of plants. In the future show, we're going to do a show about cures. We'll have something in here for handling this problem. Anyway, it's a yellow squash. This is the one I'm referring to. You see? Very prolific. Very prolific. Got too many of these. And over here we have our parsley. And we have another parsley here that's been shaded due to the size of this basil plant. This is our basil plant. I hope you remember last year we showed a show about pruning your basil. Well, if you prune your basil like we did on the show, this is what you'll wind up with for your second crop. First crop has already been dried and processed. It's in the house. But I'll be picking this very shortly now. And I'm going to put this in a food processor. And as it's going around, I will drizzle in some olive oil. I will take it out. I'll put it into ice cube trays and freeze it in ice cube trays. Each ice cube tray has about 10 leaves in it. So if you're making a pasta sauce, a large sauce, 10 leaves, whole cube. Small sauce, cut it in half. Make a small sauce. But anyway, you can put it in the ice cube trays and you can keep it up to 2 years. So you don't have too much, you never have too much of that kind of thing. This is what we have here from the crop from last year. Last year's garlic has been hung and dried. I hang it on the string in my shed. I put six or so in a bundle. And this is the crop I got, like I just showed you. how you plant it. You know, you're going to see when you do that you'll get different size bulbs. Next year, save this big one for your seeds. For this, next year, always save your biggest one for seed. These are smaller, but boy, they are stronger. They have a good bite to them. So anyway, this is what we had last year, and we did very well. Like I said, it's very, very simple. You'll enjoy doing it with your children or grandchildren. Well, that's it for today, I guess. I hope you've enjoyed being with us. We certainly have enjoyed being with you. And we'll talk to you soon. Happy gardening. I hope you're having a good harvest this year. And I'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. And inch by inch, row by row, someone blessed these seeds I sowed. Someone warmed them from below till the rains come tumbling down.